The internet is on fire, and fans cannot believe what they are hearing. Rumors spread like wildfire, and at the heart of it all is a startling revelation that has startled the whole love and hip-hop community. Mena is known for her fiery nature and no-holds-barred attitude. She has just dropped a bombshell that no one expected. She's pregnant, and she's saying Mendeecees Harris could be the father. Yes, you heard that correctly. While Mendeecees is still very much with Yandy Smith, Erica's brave declaration has sent shockwaves through the fan base. How did this occur? When did this occur? Most importantly, is there any truth in it? According to sources close to the incident, things began to spiral after a recent Love and Hip Hop shoot, during which Erica and Mendeecees were seen having multiple off-camera interactions. Yandy apparently had no idea what was going on until now. Emotions are strong, allegations are flying, and fans want answers. Is this just another attention-grabbing gimmick, or is there more to the story than everyone anticipated? Stay with us because what comes next will leave you speechless. The morning after Erica's tweet, the city was abuzz with chatter. News sites, fan pages, and podcasts are all focused on the mounting controversy. One a blogger claimed to have witnessed Erica leave a clinic with what seemed to be Mena documentation in her purse. Another said they overheard her on the phone stating, "I already know what the results are, but I want him to say it." Whether these statements were genuine or not was irrelevant. They exacerbated the turmoil. Fans were riveted to their TVs, hoping for some form of confirmation. Then came the leak, which shook everything to its foundations. A digital copy of what looked to be a prenatal nudist spread online. The supposed father and mother's names were blocked away, but the document appeared to be legitimate. The results, however, were clear: 99% probability. The internet has lost its mind. Some felt the exam was manipulated. Others insisted it was a smoking gun. Padre Mama reached an all-time high, but Erica stayed mute. Her followers swamped her comments, seeking answers. Is this true? Why haven't you said anything? This alters everything. Yet she has not responded to a single message. Meanwhile, Mendeecees was seen leaving He went to a restaurant in Atlanta with his manager. Paparazzi got up with him, and when asked about the Nino results, he simply shook his head and murmured, "No comment." But his face conveyed a different story: fatigued, agitated, and obviously under strain. Fans began to analyze every detail, including his body language, the way he avoided eye contact, and even how he tightened his teeth. It all suggested guilt. The silence was no longer working for him. Yandy, on the other hand, was deteriorating behind the scenes. According to those close to her, she had been crying for days, scarcely eating, and refusing to leave her house. Friends tried to console her, but she wouldn't speak to anyone. One source claimed she told The Confident, "I don't know what's worse, treachery or humiliation." To fans, Yandy had always appeared to be the strong, controlled one. Seeing her so broken was awful. Supporters flooded. Her page was filled with love and encouragement, but that couldn't keep her safe from the storm. Then came the most surprising twist. Erica agreed to an exclusive chat with the popular show. The preview clip became viral. Before the complete episode was even released, Erica sat in a dimly lit room, wearing a hoodie and very little makeup. Her voice trembled as she said, "I didn't want it to come to this, but I refused to be quiet any longer." When the show finally broadcast, viewers hung on every word. Erica claimed that she and Mendeecees VC had grown close during a difficult period in his marriage. She claimed it began innocently, with just discussions, venting, and connecting over stress, but ultimately things crossed the line. "I'm not proud of it," she admitted, brushing away a tear. "I knew it wasn't right, but it occurred, and I never anticipated to become pregnant. But once I did, I had an option: lie to everyone or confront the reality. And I chose truth." The room went silent. Even the host seems caught off guard. Erica went on to say that she had contacted Mendeecees discreetly, expecting to resolve things quietly. However, when he began ignoring her messages and acting as if nothing had occurred, she felt forced to speak out. "I kept thinking he'd do the right thing," she said. "Instead, he tried to make me feel crazy, but I imagined everything. And that's when I realized I needed to safeguard my child, even if it meant burning bridges." The confession sent shockwaves around the internet. Fans were stunned. Many appreciated her courage. Others questioned the timing and motivations. but the overwhelming reaction was disbelief. It wasn't simply tabloid gossip anymore. This was a really raw revelation that could not be ignored. The fallout was immediate. Mendeecees put a lengthy text-only message on his story. He didn't exactly confirm or deny anything, but did write, "People will say anything when they are hurt. I've made mistakes, but I've never turned my back on my responsibilities. My silence wasn't out of guilt, but out of protection for my family." The post only sparked more questions. What mistakes were he alluding to? Was he admitting something? Fans examined each line, attempting to decipher the truth, but nothing seemed obvious. That same night, Yandy went live. Her face. Rumors circulated that an emergency tape with all three parties was being planned. Sources said they intended to record a sit-down between Erica, Manx, and Yandy. Insiders claimed that Erica accepted quickly, while Mendeecees was apprehensive. Yandy initially rejected, but after some bargaining, she apparently agreed on one. Fans couldn't believe it. The prospect of all three being in the same room, confronting the truth on camera, was nearly too much to bear. The countdown after the confrontation had begun, and the internet was bracing for impact. Erica posted another tale, this time featuring a sonogram photo, with a voice note playing over it. It was a baby's heartbeat. "Every beat reminds me why I'm speaking up," she wrote. The message struck hard. Fans were now emotionally invested. Whether they supported Erica, Yandy, or no one at all, they all wanted the same thing, the truth. It appeared that the truth was finally on its way. Whether anyone was prepared or not, the day of the sit-down taping eventually arrived, and tension was so thick, it could have been sliced with a knife. The set was dimly lighted, with just enough brightness to capture the expressions on everyone's faces. Camera's Erica arrived first, dressed in a simple black outfit, her belly showing just enough to remind everyone what this was all about. Although she appeared calm on the outside, anyone paying close attention could see the way her hands trembled slightly as she grasped her phone. 10 minutes later, Mendeecees arrived, looking more agitated than anyone had ever seen him. He kept checking his watch, pacing, and massaging his forehead. The producers tried to get him to relax, but he wouldn't have it. "I didn't sign up for this circus," he said under his breath. Though he made no effort to leave, he understood that walking out would only make matters worse. The last to come, Yandy, didn't speak to anyone. She strode in, chin high, eyes frigid, dressed in all white, as if she were attending a funeral. Erica sat on the left, Yandy on the right, and Mendeecees immediately in front of them. Perhaps she was lamenting the relationship she believed she had. There was no moderator, just 3 chairs and the crushing weight of unsolved tension. Erica finally broke the silence. "So, are we doing this or not?" Her voice was solid, but her eyes betrayed her vulnerability. Men cleared his throat, and Yandy scoffed. "I don't know where to begin. Start with the truth, perhaps." Erica leaned forward. "I've already stated my case, and I'm not here to dispute. I'm here because my child needs to know who their father is, and the world deserves to know what type of man you truly are." Mendeecees shook his head slowly, attempting to keep his voice calm. "I said the issue was messy, and it is. You went public before we even had a chance to talk about it privately." Erica cut in sharply. "No, you ignored me. I tried to reach out and keep everything between us, but you ignored me like I was some groupie. So I did what I had to do." Yandy folded her arms and drove this all over social media. "That's what you had to do." Erica turned to her, her voice lower now. "I didn't want to hurt, I honestly didn't. I get how this appears, but imagine yourself in my shoes. I'm pregnant. I'm afraid, and the man who could be the father is acting as if I don't exist." Yandy's eyes welled up with tears, but she quickly wiped them away. "I've been in worse shoes, and believe me, betrayal doesn't come with a guidebook. But all of this circus, you made a choice as well." Mendeecees finally spoke, his voice tense. "I made mistakes, and I'm not proud of them, but I didn't ask for this much attention. I wanted time to straighten things out before it became a reality show. You're a reality star, and your entire existence is a performance." That line stung, and for a minute, the room fell still again, until Yandy said almost to herself, "Was it ever true?" Men's eyes softened as they stared at her. "What we had was real, and I'm not even sure what this was." The raw passion, the confrontation, and The anguish were all unfolding in real time, and the cameras were capturing every second. The producers, watching from the monitor, knew they had struck gold. Fans who had seen the leaked preview footage where everyone had taken sides, and the internet was blazing with debates. Team Yandy versus Team Erica and Mendeecees, and he was being dragged by both. As the discussion progressed, Erica took out a tiny folder from her backpack and handed it out. It included the official any results. DC's men hesitated, then took the documents and began to read. The stillness extended for what felt like minutes. Before he closed the folder and glanced up, "It's mine," he replied simply. Yandy closed her eyes and exhaled sharply. Erica didn't flinch. She knew the truth. The room felt like it had split in half. "So what happens now?" Erica asked. Trying to appear like the victim, angry that she had to bear the weight of public disgrace while he got to hide behind vague apologies. "You made this mess," she told him in a passionate phone call. "You're juggling 2 lives, and now everything is exploding up, and you're astonished. Nah, you can't play confused now." The call concluded with Erica blocking his number. She didn't care. She didn't care about the cameras, the program, or the headlines. All she wanted was to preserve her peace and her child. She knew that, after the baby arrived, everything would change again, and she wasn't going to let the same man who, as the days passed, additional stories began to circulate. Claiming Mendeecees had been seen with a mysterious Yandy, was believed to have moved into a new apartment and was already talking with a divorce lawyer. Erica's name was also drawn into new speculation, with blogs claiming she had a secret boyfriend all along and that the baby was not Men's. After all, nothing was confirmed, but it didn't matter. In the world of reality TV, perception was everything, and this storyline was ballooning into something nobody could control. A few producers offered the notion of filming. Mendeecees consented. Erica reluctantly said yes, and Yandy did not react. "I tried to piece together the story without putting them all in the same room. But just when everyone believed she was done for good, she shared a single black screen on her Instagram story, saying, 'Sometimes quiet is strength, but I'll talk soon.'" The internet went crazy. Blogs repeated it within minutes. Fans flooded the comments with support and interest, and the official FameZone page republished it with the remark, "We are listening, Queen." A week later, she arrived to the studio. There were no cameras. There was no notice, just her and her team strolling in, and she asked for a private, unfiltered confessional with no producers, no audience, just her and the camera, which they quickly agreed to. She sat down, took a deep breath, and began to speak in a low, calm, but firm tone. She did not hold back. She talked about the betrayal, the suffering, the sleepless nights, and how tired she was of battling for a man who didn't know how to fight for her. She was tired of being the stronger one. "I gave him everything," she continued, tears welling up in her eyes. "I established a life with him and stood by." She paused, took a breath, and said, "But I'm not bitter. I'm not angry anymore. I'm just finished." The confessional concluded with her expressing she would always do what's best for her children, and right now, it meant safeguarding her peace. No matter what that looked like was raw and true, and when it broadcast, it broke the internet. Millions watched, grieved, and celebrated as the story turned from scandal to strength. While some fans wanted Mendeecees and Yandy to reconcile, the majority thought that she deserved more. Erica, on the other hand, remained silent that week, with no new posts or statements. She was preoccupied with getting through the last few weeks of her pregnancy, determined not to let the cacophony drown her out. Mendeecees watched Yandy's confessional alone in his flat, not saying anything, just staring at the TV, tears in his eyes, the weight of his axe crushing down all at once. He had shattered something that could never be repaired. He had damaged trust that had taken years to create, and now he had to live with that truth. The public might, as the city buzzed with reaction videos, think pieces, and trending hashtags. The three of them found themselves on different paths, connected by scandal, but split by agony. The baby would be born into confusion, but perhaps also into clarity. For what had begun as a secret had turned into a reckoning, and the story was far from ended. Yandy had officially moved out of the shared home, choosing for a smaller, more private location in a gated community where reporters couldn't readily find her. Though the media frenzy had begun to slow, the real-life effects were just deepening. She kept her circle tight, limiting who could come and who knew her location. For the first time in years, she was selecting herself without hesitation. Show offers, interview inquiries, and brand deals continued to stream in. With Yandy gone and Erica silent, NBC was left alone with his thoughts and guilt, and she declined most of them, since she was more concerned with recovering than with making headlines. He attempted to immerse himself in work, attending meetings, and pretending he still had control, but his mind was always wandering. Every studio session, every event, every night at home, Felv missed his kids, the warmth of family dinners, the way Yandy used to check in on him with a simple glance, and even though he knew he was to blame, a part of him still couldn't comprehend how everything fell apart so quickly. Erica was nearing the end of her pregnancy, and while her body was fatigued, her mind was sharper than ever. She spent hours journaling, trying to digest everything. Her baby shower had been canceled owing to the chaos, but a couple of her friends still came over to offer her a modest, private celebration. No cameras, no drama, just love. She smiled more that day than she had in months. But even in those moments of tranquility, there was a lingering question. What kind of world was she bringing her child into? What kind of father would Mendeecees truly be? When the baby arrived, a healthy baby girl with a full head of hair, Erica felt a mix of excitement and fear. She clutched her daughter close and grieved softly, not from pain, but from everything she'd been keeping inside. She wrote a brief note to Mendeecees. They proposed a miniseries and even a spin-off focusing on treatment, but Yandy was not interested. They portrayed Mendeecees as a man attempting to reunite his family. For her, the cameras had already taken too much. She didn't want mending to become a spectacle. She wanted genuine serenity. And she wanted her children to grow up away from the despite the noise. She couldn't completely escape the event. Fans followed her everywhere, both online and in person, and every time she stepped outside, phones went up. Every time she posted, the comments flooded in. Some urged her to forgive him, while others commended her for stepping away. But all of this kept bringing her back into the story she was trying to finish, and her children began to inquire why they didn't live with Daddy anymore. Why are people talking about us? She did her best to shield them, but it was evident that the damage had spread to everyone, not just her and Mendeecees. Mendeecees tried. After the baby was born, he reached out again, sending flowers, gifts, voice notes, and even a handwritten letter to Yandy's new address. He admitted everything: the lies, the fear, the cowardice. He said he understood if she never wanted to see him again. But he only begged for one thing: let me show you. Yandy read the letter alone in her room and cried again, this time out of tiredness rather than grief. She was tired of being the one who had to determine what followed next. Weeks passed, and the media frenzy slowed. A news story dominated the news, but behind closed doors, the three of them were still grappling with the aftermath. Erica chose to raise her daughter in solitude, away from the spotlight. She considered relocating out of state, starting over somewhere no one knew her name. Yandy returned to her nonprofit work, helping young girls discover their voice, a purpose that seemed more personal than ever. And Mendeecees, he began attending to therapy. Real therapy, no cameras, no crew, just him, a chair, and the weight of his decisions. Over time, there were minor shifts. Yandy permitted Mendeecees to see the kids, but only under supervision. Erica allowed him to see the infant once, but made it obvious that she was in charge now. They weren't friends. There weren't adversaries. There were three people tied by shattered trust and a baby girl who didn't ask for any of this. And gradually, without anybody noticing, the commotion began to fade. Then, out of the one unexpectedly announced a one-night-only reunion broadcast that would be real, unscripted, and unfiltered. The advertisement included snippets of old memories, tears, laughing, and even a few glimpses from the most recent confessionals. Fans were excited, wondering if all three would show there. Would Yandy finally meet Mendeecees face to face? Would Erica? The night of the reunion arrived, and the studio was filled. Security was tight, and cameras were everywhere, filmed from every aspect. Mendeecees went in first, wearing a plain black hoodie, looking worried but composed. Erica, holding her daughter, flanked by a small group of friends. Yandy finally stepped onto the stage, and the crowd fell silent. She sat down gently, glanced around, and simply stated, I'm here. Not for drama, not for in that moment. The story was no longer about betrayal or scandal, but rather about three people confronting the truth in its raw, exposed, and unfiltered form. Because sometimes the loudest endings are the ones that come in silence, and sometimes closure does not seem like forgiveness, but rather like walking away stronger than before. When the reunion ended and the lights dropped, the stillness that followed said more than any screenplay ever could. The road from denial to confrontation, from pain to terrible realities, was lengthy, messy, and unforgettable. Fans who had followed every twist were left with mixed feelings. Some felt relieved, while others craved more. But one thing was certain, this wasn't your typical love story or hip-hop drama. Mendeecees, Yandy, and Erica walked distinct routes, but the implications of their decisions would reverberate for years. Social media was flooded with emotions. Some saw it as redemption, while others viewed it as the final nail in the coffin. Regardless, everyone knew they had witnessed something visceral, something that, and now we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts on everything that happened? Were Mendeecees telling the truth? Did Yandy make the correct decision in moving away? And what about Erica? Was her decision to go public brave or calculated? Share your thoughts in the comments section below, since this story is far from done. And if you've been riding with us through all of the turmoil, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more jaw-dropping updates, untold stories, and behind-the-scenes drama that the networks won't show you. Turn on that notification bell to never miss another twist. Because when it comes to love, deception, and dinner tests, there's always more than meets the eye. Until next time, remain connected, keep curious, and remember that the actual tale